putting it all together.
Okay. All right, I'm getting ready to hit the lights. So, watch your ass. All right. Awesome. So, we watched the video, and so we've gotten a chance to like learn what we should do. So now I'm gonna kind of help y'all to make it make sense. So I'm gonna give you a scenario. Let's say you leave here, you left here, we just got finished taking the CPR class. So you feel really confident with your ability to perform CPR, but you're in the grocery store. You leave here, you gotta stop at Kroger's to grab some groceries for tonight's dinner. And let's say you're walking, just doing your thing, come around one of those aisles and you notice that there's a group of people standing around what appears to be an adult man on the ground. Okay, so you don't know what's happened. We just left class, on our way home, just grabbing some stuff, but you see this crowd of people, you see this gentleman on the ground. Let's just talk through what you think you would do and let's make it make sense. So you came around that aisle, what's the first thing we're gonna do? So say it again. So you're checking for responsiveness?
Making sure everything's okay.
Okay, so Tonisha said you wanna check the scene and make sure that it's safe. Okay, and
Checking
then,
his chest. Looking at his chest, that's the first thing I'm looking at. See if he's breathing or not.
okay, so I'm hearing a lot of great things, okay? You got anything to add in you?
I wouldn't,
What?
check and make sure he responsive, see if he responsive.
Okay, let's talk about that. So we came around that aisle, no idea what's happened, we just know that there's a group of people standing around. So, based on what we just learned and what you always wanna do exactly what Tonisha? Okay, exactly what Tonisha said first. We wanna always ensure that the scene is safe. Before you ever run up, Mr., are you okay, we wanna ensure, we wanna take a couple minutes, a couple seconds, it's gonna happen really fast, but you wanna take a couple seconds to look around, see what's happened. Maybe he tripped and fell over some puddle juice from a jar that fell off the counter, off one of those shelves or something, and you don't wanna run up trying to assess and check him, for responsiveness and go slipping and falling and hurt yourself too. No matter what the situation is, somebody is having a seizure, stroke, anything, just don't look right. Take those couple seconds to make sure that the scene is safe. That protects you from potentially hurting yourself. That's your moment to kind of troubleshoot what could have happened, okay? So everybody who's down does not need CPR. So we're gonna check, are you okay? We need to check that person for responsiveness, and we're doing that really quick. If somebody's okay, if somebody's alert and awake or just having a moment, they're gonna respond. With everything now, maybe people are doing crazy things, recording videos, doing pranks. We don't wanna immediately, run over, call 911, do those things. So take the minute to check your scene for safety, assess your person, are you okay? If they don't respond, now we need to get help. So we're gonna call out, we're gonna tell somebody that's standing around, hey, I need one of y'all to call 911 and get an AED. Okay, so it's kinda like those are the steps. So what's the first thing we're gonna do?
Check the scene and make sure it's safe.
Right, and then from there, checking for responsiveness, and then we're gonna
Yeah, for help, ask someone to call 911 and get an AED.
right, so that makes all sense. So now from there, based on what we've learned, what we think we're gonna do.
Look at his chest and see if he's breathing.
Yep, so once again, we're gonna get down, after we got 911 on the phone, it's really important too that when we say, I need you to call 911 and somebody go get an AED, the person we tell to call 911, we need to tell them to put that phone on speaker mode. So back in the day, we didn't have speaker phones, people were mostly calling from landlines when things happen like this. Now everybody got a cell phone, right? Yours right there, I heard yours. We all got cell phones, so we wanna put that on speaker mode, so 911 can help guide us, they got help on the way, all that. But then we wanna get back down and take that couple little seconds again and scan the chest, checking for breathing again. We wanna ensure that this person is truly not breathing, because we only give CPR to people who are not breathing or who do not have a pulse. So we're not gonna take a whole bunch of seconds and minutes trying to feel for a pulse, you know? Not everybody's trained to do that, and we wanna delay, you know? We wanna start quick, we wanna prevent all these delays in getting started. So just look over his chest, looking for the rise and fall, you know, any signs of breathing. If we don't see any, then what?
Flat surface. Well, that's if you're not, make sure he on the flat surface.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he on the floor, it's flat.
Yep, so maybe you're right, but if he was in a bed or something, we'd be getting him to the floor. But in this case, so this guy's on the floor, so now we're what? What are we doing, Randy?
Take it off, shirt, I guess.
Man, that is perfect. No, don't, yes,
Okay.
exactly. We rip open his shirt.
Okay.
A lot of people forget to do that. They're thinking like, well, we're out in public, or they're just not thinking that, but that is one important step. And the reason being, we have to open the person's shirt. So maybe y'all can tell me, why do you think it's important that we open up the shirt?
So you can see, so you can assess.
Yeah, you need to be able to assess, see those signs of breathing. You need to know where to place your hands. How do we know our breaths are going in?
The rise and fall.
Can we see the rise and fall of breathing in a sweatshirt or a jacket? Alright, so we do need to open that shirt, so we can know that when we're delivering those breaths, that the breaths are going in. So that's a really important step. We don't wanna forget it.
Can I ask you something? Now, this is coming from a male perspective. A woman, for instance, you said this was vice versa, a woman on the floor. Now, if I was the only one, a male, how would I go by without exposing her? You know what I mean? Like, I know I have to get up in the,
You
what
are.
I say, thorax area.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know
Right.
where I'm going with that.
I definitely do, so.
Save me from a lawsuit.
Exactly, we're gonna talk about the Good Samaritan law too, but you're.
What he was trying to say about like.
Say it again, Vivian.
And don't nobody care about that. You wanna die or you wanna be embarrassed?
Exactly.
Well, how do a male approach that? If you say safety first, right?
Yes,
So
yes, and you wanna protect your safety
Exactly.
and your freedom,
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
So
I
you
agree
already
with
got 911, so now that the ladies have told you, we rather live,
Right.
so we ain't really worried about that, okay?
But me, okay, one more thing. Me being a male and trying to, in my STNA mode, trying to be, keep stuff.
Privacy.
Yeah, so is it possible I can not expose her all the way, or do I have to? That's what I'm
So
saying.
you kinda do enough to be able to see the rise and fall of the chest.
Okay.
You may even have to undo her bra if it's an underwire bra, because when you do
Right.
put an AED pad on there, when we deliver that shock, it may burn her. So you have to do all that. Modesty goes out the window, but you can try to create some sense of dignity, like if she has a jacket, maybe, but you need to see that chest, and saving her life has to be priority, but you did call 911, so they're on speaker mode.
Right.
And you're saying, I'm ripping open her shirt, right?
Right.
Is this what I'm supposed to do? So they got your back and it's all being recorded.
Gotcha.
So we already had 911 on the phone and we put them on speaker mode, so they know everything that's going on, right? Because even if you were by yourself, let's say you were alone at Kroger's, it was night shift or something, and nobody else was there, you're going to, number one, check your scene for safety. Number two, you're going to check for responsiveness. Number three, you're going to call 911. You're gonna grab your own cell phone out and call 911, put them on speaker mode, and running off to get some help, some additional help. Then coming back to the guy or the woman, ripping open their, getting down, looking again, checking for responsiveness. They're not breathing, rip open their shirt. So all the steps, but you got 911 on the phone the whole time, because that was like the third thing that we did. Okay, so good question there. So we rip open that shirt. After we rip open that shirt, then what? Are we all agreeing? Okay. We're gonna start compressions. We're gonna start our compressions. You rip open that shirt, you get down on that chest, and now you're gonna locate. So let's say, so this is our guy here. So you're gonna rip open that shirt. Can you see over there, Randy? Okay, so you rip open that shirt. You are going to kind of trace the nipples. That's why it's important too to be able to see the chest. There's some women, so say if it was a woman, some women have larger breasts and it may sag low, and you think that the stomach's down here because you're thinking I'm putting my hands in between nipples, and you're down here in the stomach, but ideally those chests were just hanging and it's up here. So you wanna see that, but trace those nipples, hand center here, lock those hands. How many compressions? 30. 30 compressions. You go up, you tilt the head. If you have one of these, you will be popping this open in place and placing it on their face to secure it. And then you would be breathing directly in this. This is reusable. If you did not have a bag mask and you were deciding to give mouth to mouth, you're gonna pinch the nose. You wanna always pinch that nose, otherwise the air that you breathe in will go out. So you wanna pinch that nose, deliver 2 nice and easy breaths, watching for the chest to rise each time, coming back down, 30 more compressions. Let's talk about that, because I did say it's optional, sort of. So, remember in the video it mentions that hands-only CPR. So AHA is the organization that pretty much guides the way we teach CPR in the community. So they're the ones who are doing all the research, they're pulling the data from hospitals, they're following people, you know, doing studies on them, watching how they survive, what their life is looking like after they, you know, recover from cardiac arrest, and trying to improve the way we do things. So what they found, when they look at their trends and their data in our communities, so communities of people with color, our numbers are showing that we don't stop at help. You know, we're dying at a much increased rate than other communities. And what they have heard is that we say, I don't feel comfortable putting my mouth on strangers. I don't wanna be sued, you know, for either breaking a rib or, you know, violating somebody's privacy. You know, so there's a lot of different feedback that they've gotten. And so one of the things I always talk about in the class is the Good Samaritan law. So Good Samaritan law protects us, bystanders, when we're out and we're helping people. You know, but one of the things that they realize is that by what we said, we don't feel comfortable putting our mouths on strangers. They know that the compressions are more important. So in adults, when that heart stops, so our heart creates the blood flow through our body, so then our organs are perfused constantly. So when the heart stops, our organs aren't being perfused. So our lungs and our brain is not being perfused. And over time, without the oxygen, without the blood flow, it'll die. And that's when we experience like death. So by us manually pushing on the heart, doing these compressions, we're creating the blood flow for this person. We're trying to help to sustain life for them. You know, these are more important when it comes to adults. So they say, you know what, y'all don't feel comfortable putting your mouth on people, we get that. But one of the things, the most important thing you wanna do is call 911, get them on speakerphone, get help on the way, and at least do compressions. So they cut out the mouthpiece. If you wanna get quality CPR, you wanna do all 2 steps. Okay, so we're taking this class, most of the time we take CPRs because our job and our school said we had to. You know, they wanted the certification cards. But 8 times out of 10, when most people do have to provide CPR, it's usually in their communities, in their homes, on people that they care about. Okay, so you wanna know how to do the quality CPR. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. But if you are out and you don't want to do those breaths because you don't wanna risk harming yourself, remember, checking the scene for safety, we always ensure our own safety first. You don't wanna put your mouth on somebody, you at least get that help on the way, and you just do compressions. You say, how many compressions? You just keep going, you don't stop. So you're not count, you can count just to keep the rate, but you're gonna just keep doing this. And like I said, you're creating that blood flow, you know, for this person, okay? So 30 compressions, 2 breaths. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. So I want y'all to all stand up on your feet, and we're gonna kind of like practice and see what this feels like. Does anybody have like any sore wrists or anything like that? Okay. All right, so you're gonna do this until I say stop, okay? Couple things before we even start. I wanna hear you count your compressions out loud. It's important that even in the scene, if you're in a real life situation, you have to count these compressions out loud. Number 1, if I was doing compressions over here with Danielle, or she's doing compressions and I'm delivering the breaths, if she's counting to herself, 21, 22, 22, 23, 20. Do I know when to give my breaths? No. So I need you to count them out loud. Plus, when you got 911 on the phone, they're like, you're going too slow. If you're counting to yourself, they don't know what rate you're going. So you want to be counting them out loud. So make sure you count the compressions out loud. Go up, pretend to deliver the breaths, go right back in. We're just gonna keep doing it until I say stop. All right. On the count of 3. Let's see, everybody got their hands in the right place. Perfect, Randy, good job. Alright, good. Now you're not gonna so your hands are gonna fit flat on here because your hands are not coming off the mannequins. Your arms are just banging. Okay? No, you're good. She's good, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, right there. So in between nipples? Perfect. 1, 2, 3, go. I can't hear you. Get in there. Keep going, y'all. You know what? Let's stop. Let's stop. Stop. This is perfect. Y'all did amazing. I see people coming out there clothes. So guess what? I wanted to see y'all do all that because guess what? Being that I know how this feels, when I ran up on that scene, I would have checked my scene for safety. I would have said, hey, everybody, can you give me some room? I know CPR. I would have said, sir, are you okay? Are you okay? He wasn't responding. I would have said, I need somebody to call 911. I need somebody to get an AED. I would have got down, looked at his chest one more time, watched to see if he was breathing. If he wasn't, I was ripping open that shirt, and I was going to say, you or anybody, does anybody else know CPR? You gonna need help.
Yeah.
Yes, you is.
That's a workout. I did it before. I know that's a workout right there.
Yep. So you want help, and so you want to switch off. So about every 5 cycles, every 2 minutes, you want to switch. You want to go from doing compressions to taking over breaths. If nobody was to volunteer, like I know CPR, I would have said you, or I probably would have really honestly, if I was out, I would have picked the guy. But I would say you, can you, because number one, I know I have a bad back. So I'm gonna ask you to do the compressions, but I'm probably gonna do a round or so and say, watch me, and I need you to do this.
Do what I'm doing.
So you can teach somebody to do exactly CPR in just a couple seconds, but as you see, you're gonna need the help, because it requires a lot of physical, So when I talked about, I have a bad back, so we always, when you're doing CPR, you wanna know your strengths, you wanna know the limitations. Always know realize what your strengths are, realize what your limitations is, and that's with anything in life. but especially in CPR. So there's many things that you can do to help this person. Like I said, I have the bad back, so I'm not gonna be, but I do this all the time. I've done CPR in real life, so I can instruct other people what to do. I can go get the AED, operate that. I can go to the door and tell 911 where everything's happening and give them a rundown, so just get in where you fit in, but certainly, know your strengths, know your limitations. If you're strong, you got the strength, you can be the compressor, but it can be very tiring. And a real human being, so we are feeling the clicks, and I can tell the more we got going, the more tired you were becoming and the less effective your compressions were becoming. I seen yours, I wasn't seeing the clicks, you weren't going as deep, the mannequin was sliding, you see those things. So just you take turns, switch about every 2 minutes, every 5 cycles. And a real human is all bone. So you're gonna feel things cracking and breaking. And that happens, and that's a part of it, because under the bones is those organs that we need to compress. So even at the hospital, when we provide CPR to a person, when they wake up, after that they're black and blue. We beat their chest up